Well, we've referenced this as being the biggest step up in the career of Diego Pacheco. For Enrique Collazo, physically, he says, this is the first time I've ever looked up at an opponent in a live fight. Diego Pacheco, 6'4", a 79-inch reach, putting his undefeated 15-0 record on the line against the 2012 Olympian Enrique Collazo. Round 1, scheduled for 10. See Diego Pacheco in the white trunks, trimmed with the Mexican flag. Enrique Collazo in the green and gold trunks.
You know, in the fighter meetings, Collazo was just so confident that he's just way above Pacheco when it comes to skill level. You know, I'd like to see that tonight. You know, I understand in the amateurs, he's fought guys that, you know, either today challenged for titles like Terrell Boucher or, you know, Luis Arias. But Diego Pacheco is not that regular prospect, you know. He's tall, he's strong, he's rangy, and he has a high IQ for a young fighter.
Collazo says that he just hasn't been given the opportunities that he expected in the pros so far. Said it wasn't long ago he was offered a fight against Callum Smith during the beginning of the pandemic, but said he didn't want to take that offer, again, according to him, on 3 weeks' notice.
Yeah, especially that fight was contracted at 175, and Enrique fights at 168.
Pacheco now in his second fight with the new camp that we referenced, with Jose Benavidez Sr. now in his corner. And he said it was a real wake-up call for him, getting into that Benavidez camp, being around David Benavidez, of course, Jose Benavidez Jr. as well. And he said he did have that kind of eye-opening moment when he stepped in the gym on day one and realized, oh, you know, I'm not the best one in the gym anymore. I need to step up to their level.
Every fighter needs to go through that. Maybe some guys who are champions already, when they reach a plateau, they need to go through that, you know. And I think it's a wonderful experience to be sparring against guys like Jose Ramirez, David Benavidez, you know. You have to be levels above what your age would show. And, you know, I've been talking about chips on shoulders all night. But Collazo definitely got a chip on his shoulder because he's been a pro for so many years. He was in the 2012 Olympics. And most of those guys who were in the Olympics from America either have titles already. You know, Jojo Diaz has been a champion. Errol Spence has been a champion. So I know he's like, yo, my time should have came 5 years ago.
Right. And so he's entering this fight with a mindset, to whatever degree it's true, but he believes it, that he's been avoided. You know, that there are reasons why he's not getting these fights, but he believes he's in the right spot at the right moment here tonight.
Well, either he's showing patience or he's showing respect for Diego's power. You know, none of them has really landed anything substantial as of yet.
Slow-moving opening round here. Both men just measuring with their jabs.
I think the one who has to do the most
Rivera, who recently fought on DAZN on the Usyk Joshua 2 undercard. He fought Badu Jack to a draw. Round 2 begins. Slow start for both Diego Pacheco and Enrique Collazo. They're more or less at a standstill, kind of batting one another's lead hands away.
Sizing each other up. I think it looks like Collazo's not doing much, but he's actually keeping Diego away, you know, by just doing that pouring jab, just keeping him away, not letting him set up his offense.
One of the things that Jose Benavidez Sr. said that Pacheco does particularly well is the ability to land to the body from long range. Again, because of that reach, you see right there, a feint to the body comes over the top of the right hand.
And that right hand, it had a little effect on Collazo.
Collazo waved him in after that right hand landed.
Diego is using his distance very, very well. Good footwork, backing up.
Pacheco's team feels that they can break Collazo down in this fight. They wouldn't go so far as to say that they'll definitively knock him out, but you read between the lines, there certainly is that belief in Pacheco's corner.
Giving a man respect. He is a veteran, so to speak. Hasn't, fought the top yet, but he is a veteran. Came into the game with a crew cut, has long dreads now. Been in the game that long.
Collazo also, as we mentioned, a guy who gets calls from high-level fighters, and they want good work in the gym. Collazo has been getting those calls. He hasn't been getting the phone calls he wants for fights, but when we talk about Gabe Rosado and Jean Pascal and Logan Paul as well, a frequent sparring partner of Enrique Collazo, although I'm not ready to lump him in as a high-level fighter quite yet.
Oh, okay.
Good wrestler.
Well, he's 21 years old. Speaking of the Paul family, like him, Pacheco fighting on Logan Paul KSI, I think that actually is good preparation for the future. You know why? Because those kind of fans don't give you no kind of leeway. You have to prove that you are somebody for them to cheer for, because they don't like boxing.
Right. Neither fighter really able to get their jab working thus far. Now you see Pacheco trying to bring it back downstairs. Collazo mirrors him, tries that, and Pacheco counters with another right hand. Really, the two times that Pacheco has got Collazo to react, he's landed a right hand. There hasn't been much going on, but the little that has happened has been from the right hand of Pacheco.
Just enough for Pacheco to win the round, landed a couple of shots.
Slow rounds like this, that's all it takes. Certainly a round in the bank for Pacheco.
Very few fights can be called super fights. This is one of them.
There's a score to settle.
There you saw it. Lots of unique ways to experience Canelo Triple G3 here tonight. Of course, live on the Zone pay-per-view later on as we take a look at the corner of Diego Pacheco. Jose Benavidez Sr., just a correction from earlier. This is the third fight they've spent together. Really the second full camp they've now spent together, as Jose Benavidez Sr. likes what he has to work with Diego Pacheco as round 3 begins. And in asking Jose Sr. about how he's molding Diego Pacheco, I asked, your son is obviously very big for his weight class. Are you kind of used to working with fighters like that? And he kind of discarded that in a sense, because Pacheco is not a fighter that he wants working on the inside. He admits that's not Diego Pacheco's strength. He's a long-range fighter who can break you down with power shots.
That was a very good question and very good observation. And I think Jose Benavidez is exactly right. And I love trainers like that who don't try to train their new fighter like their old fighter.
Collazo looks for a right hand downstairs. Good counter there from Pacheco. Pacheco says that his natural mentality is that of a counterpuncher. And so far, again, it's been a relatively slow start here in the third round, but all of the punches of consequence have been counter shots from Pacheco.
Got to commend Pacheco on his patience right here, because the crowd might not be happy. I understand he's probably not happy, but he's having patience. He's doing great countering. He can't get it in with the right hand yet, but he knows how to pick his spots.
I also think that part of building a prospect is giving them different looks, right? I mean, last time out, it was an interesting test for Pacheco against Raul Ortega, who was a big physical fighter, a guy who I think a fight prior had fought at cruiserweight, was able to push him off. Now you have Enrique Collazo, who's not going to take too many chances. It's a totally different tempo of fight. And Pacheco is handling the challenge to this point quite well.
One thing I noticed is that, Pacheco's not landing. That was a good right hand landed by Collazo, but Pacheco's not landing a lot. But when he does land that right hand, I see a reaction every time in the face of Collazo.
Collazo said that he felt that Pacheco would be too slow for him and he'd be able to outsmart Pacheco. He's certainly attempting the latter strategy by really slowing down the tempo of this fight. Pacheco to this point landing just enough. Final 20 seconds of round 3. This one's scheduled for 10. Pacheco comes up short with a right hand there. Collazo starting to get a little more vocal in the ring as well, but he'll eat a right hand seconds before the bell. And we take a look back at some of the action from round 3.
Collazo's taking what he can get, which is the body, because he can't reach the head of Pacheco right now, just giving him a little tongue action.
Round 4 now underway. Diego Pacheco and Enrique Collazo, our feature bout here on the live prelims. Just over half an hour to go before our main broadcast. Canelo and Triple G, the trilogy. See the QR code on your screen every once in a while. You know how to order.
What are we coming to? You could just put your phone up to your TV and order the fight. I like that. Make it real easy for you. And if there's any fight you want to order, it's Canelo Triple G3.
Both men, Pacheco and Collazo, still scanning with their lead hand here, looking for openings. Pacheco kind of dropped his lead hand a little bit, taking an extra step forward, trying to change the range of this fight a little bit as Collazo is kind of resigned to working around the perimeter, and he gets caught with another good shot from Pacheco, who looks for a pull counter right hand again.
And then he kind of like gives him a handshake, like, yeah, good shot. And they both dapped it up. I think that was a perfect observation by Corey. I think, great right hand by Pacheco, overhand right. I think he's just inching in a little bit closer, getting in more in range so he can land that right hand.
There it is again, that right hand. That one affected Collazo. The feet might have been tangled as well, but that was a flush right hand from Diego Pacheco.
They're both pretty big guys for this division, but I think Pacheco's power is just different.
Well, he's certainly built unlike most super middleweights. We keep referencing the dimensions of Diego Pacheco, but he's not just a tall, lanky super middleweight. He certainly has power in that frame as well, and he's only growing into it as well.
I met this kid, he was 19 years old. Eddie Hearn brought him straight to me and said, hey, I just signed this kid, put him on your show. All I saw was big teeth, smiling. That's all I saw. I didn't know he was a killer like this in the ring. And he just landed another great right hand, Pacheco, that is.
One of Benavidez Sr.'s goals, he said, was to turn Pacheco into a more exciting fighter. This isn't necessarily the type of matchup to put that on display, but you are seeing Pacheco pick up the tempo here and take a few more chances in round 4.
Yeah, you know, styles make fights. You know, I think Collazo's making it a little bit difficult for him, you know, trying to pour that jab, trying to keep his distance as well. Ooh.
Nice counter there from Pacheco. Collazo did take that well. We enter the final 10 seconds of round 4. Collazo still not able to get anything going, but the right hand from Pacheco continues to be the story. Talked about the right hand of Pacheco all night long, so let's take a look at it again.
I mean, Pacheco showing he can counter, he can lead with the right hand and land like that, beautifully over the top. Wow, there it is again. And you see the grimace on the face of Collazo, and he even looks at his corner and shakes, yeah, he got me.
And we begin round 5. Diego Pacheco in round 4. It felt like he was turning up the heat a little bit on Enrique Collazo. Some of those right hands starting to visibly have an effect on Collazo after the fact. And Pacheco, again, just inching a little bit closer to start off round 5.
I just see that he's just a... He's just a well-rounded boxer, Pacheco. You know, the way he's inching forward, but he's still concerned about defense. He's in and out of range with the movement of his waist. Good left hook by Pacheco. And he's not just throwing caution to the wind and just going in there. Sometimes maybe Benavidez does that because his hands are so fast. He can get in there and throw an 8-punch combination and not worry about what's coming back.
See Pacheco closing distance. You saw him just kind of touch with that right hand. As you pointed out, getting the left hook involved now for the first time. You'll see it every once in a while. One thing that Pacheco's corner really likes from him and really is hammering home is jab to the back shoulder. He's trying to throw the jab just almost past the head of Collazo so he can't slip it. It also occupies his right hand, and he can come behind with the right hand.
Yes, a good fighter, you know, he knows where, he studies his opponent, and he knows where the opponent is going to move his head, and he throws in that direction. But a few seconds ago while we was talking, Diego landed a nice counter right uppercut.
Pacheco slips out of the way of a right hand, slips out of the way of a jab. Good head movement here from Pacheco. Again, not a lot coming at him from Collazo. Collazo not taking too many chances, but down he goes. Perhaps a little too hesitant. And Pacheco fills the gap with an overhand right. Collazo talking to Pacheco. Now's not the time for trash talk. Pacheco's got 45 seconds in the bag to finish this one in round 5. Pacheco just measuring Collazo right now, and that is it. Celestino Ruiz steps in, and Diego Pacheco, biggest step up, biggest victory of his young career. Woo! Wow. Well, that was an impressive, poised performance from Pacheco from start to finish.
This kid is special. Pacheco is special. I just saw like a 30-year-old fighter there tonight, not a 21-year-old. At the end of that fight, Collazo looked at the ref and said, "I'm okay," and then his eyes rolled in the back of his head. He was hurt. That was a good stoppage by the referee.
We said during Pacheco's entrance, he's grown up before our eyes on DAZN.
Yeah.
I think he really grew up with that performance. That looked like a maturing, if not mature fighter. Right?
I'm a believer. He proved something to me tonight. I mean, this was a veteran. This guy Collazo, yeah, he didn't fight on the top grades, but he's a veteran of the sport. Even at great amateur pedigree as all. as well. So this guy, Pacheco, has proved that he's great. Ooh, look at that. He led with the right hand. Even though he stood up for a while, he was already going down. So those body shots didn't mean anything.
To the credit to Pacheco, immediately reacted, going right down to the body. And a stoppage there from Celestino Ruiz. Not taking any chances with a wobbly fighter in Collazo. I'm sure the Collazo will debate the stoppage, but no debating the impressive nature of this performance from Diego Pacheco and that partnership with the Benavidez camp. It looks like a perfect marriage right now. All right, we are ready to make this one.